Hey, welcome on in, everybody, and Tobin here with you. Miami Dolphins, back in the win column, 29-17 over the San Francisco 49ers. Devon Achane, 50 yards to the house to put the dagger in it. Although you got that wet blanket, Tony Romo be like, "Oh, Jim, I don't know." Tony Romo is like, this man must be a lottery player because he's very into low chance scenarios coming and biting you in the butt. I do appreciate him being so positive on the front of the Miami Dolphins potentially making the playoffs. But, Tony, there have not been a lot of big plays for the Dolphins to enjoy this year. I would appreciate it if you stuck a cork in it just for a minute. Oh, Jim. Anyway, Devon Achane, what a game from him today. He accounted for 190 yards of Dolphins offense. Finally, the Dolphins decide we're going to at least give you not no Eichenberg, but less Eichenberg. And less Eichenberg is always a good thing. And this was the big shift. Isaiah Wynn got the start at right guard today. You got Teron Armstead back. You were able to get Kendall Lamb back, and the Miami Dolphins were able to get their first 100-yard rushing game since week 7 of the NFL season. My God, it has been way too long. You got to give another shout-out to Anthony Weaver's defense. Kader Kohu with a monster interception late. Thanks, of course, to Calais Campbell, who brought the heat right into Brock Purdy's kitchen. And then, just for good measure, on the final drive of the game, where Tony Romo was nervous, Chop Robinson said, "No, sir, I am here with my axe to take down Brock Purdy and get himself." And by the way, if you listen to Porpoise Props today on the pregame show with myself and Solana, somebody told you to go and bet Zach Sealer and Chop Robinson each over half a sack. You'd get that at about 8-1 on your little sack parlay. Do what you might have. Do what you want to. I don't tell you when to bet. I've lost bets, certainly, but that one has been hitting. Those boys have been humming lately, and this Miami Dolphins team gets a much, much needed win. Tua Tagovailoa today. Numbers don't look spectacular. Receivers didn't do him any justice today. I mean, Tyreek Hill, man. I don't even know, dude. I really don't even know what to say at this point. But the cheetah. Dropping not one. This game could have been a lot easier. Would it have been for Tyreek Hill's two hands seemingly functioning like we're used to them functioning? Because he got the one touchdown, probably could have had 3, should have had at least 2. The first one that got tipped, all right, that's a great play by the defender, even though Tua, put it in the perfect place. And it was right there in both mitts. But, all right, couldn't get that one. Fine. The second one, I don't know what to tell you, dude. That was crazy for me. Tua definitely probably deserved much better numbers than he deserved today in a matchup where the Miami Dolphins, look, we're just trying to keep their much slim playoff hopes alive. They were able to do that here today with a victory. It was exciting to see the run game get back in action. Achane to get loose like this was much needed. He's awesome. Over 7 yards a carry. He gets, nearly 12 yards a touch when it came to the receiving yard game. Just was absolute money. Jonnu Smith continues to be a marvel in what he does this season. The Dolphins are able to battle through, some adversity. But yeah, man, this game started off Tua just like on the friggin' money to Tyreek Hill. And the first drive stalls out and you're just like, all right, dude. Well, what are we supposed to do? Is it time for him to go, coach? I don't know. But that was very, very disappointing. And then the Dolphins did it again. They started marching down the field. Tua and Achane. Tua's going over the middle. He goes over the middle. Devon Achane was making tougher catches today than Tyreek Hill. He was like going up 20-yard catches, catching it in traffic. It was very, very impressive what the young man was doing. Then he just goes right into and Tua got crushed too on this play. No good. Dolphins settled for 3, and that was that was a little bit disappointing. Then they give you the whole Brock Purdy's meeting Dan Marino, Dan the man, his guy. The crazy thing with this play was Benito Jones nearly picks off a ball off the ground, right? Like he nearly picks off. His helmet goes flying. He doesn't care. He's so excited. Big man getting the football. So excited to get the football. The crazy thing when we see big men get football, it's like they all logic, all reasoning goes out the window. We saw Rob Hunt at one point just thought that he was a running back, even though it was a completely illegal play. Benito Jones loses helmet, doesn't care. He's just going absolutely bananas. But you look back at it, and it touched the ground. But Mike McDaniel couldn't help himself. I think he was too excited because Benito Jones was excited. And he throws the challenge flag, which he's awful at. I think 4 of 16 is his numbers. I saw Alan Pupar tweet out. He's really – Mike McDaniel might be the worst challenger in the history of challenging. He's really, really bad at it. So this was – but, get it, Mike McDaniel wanted to, risk it. You have you get a big play by a big man. You haven't had many turnover plays. Maybe that, messed up the logic there, but it was a wasted challenge nonetheless. Zach Sealer gets a monster sack on Brock Purdy. Doesn't matter. Next play, he gets it to Deebo Samuel, who cannot be brought down by Jordan Poyer, nor the Snowman. Ramsey completely whiffs on him. Deebo Samuel just obliterates all of the Dolphins like a bowling ball. And, not a great look for them. Dolphins would come back. Now, one of the things that we noticed with this next drive is that Liam Eichenberg was back out there. And so I guess what the Dolphins had said is they're doing a guard rotation. They were kind of just testing it out. Like Mike McDaniel's putting the shoes on in the store. He's walking around to see if he likes the comfort of it. So Eichenberg was still out there. I still saw him on the ground a lot. Either way, the Dolphins would end up, bringing it to within a point. Defense would come back. They get a big play by Agba and Calais Campbell to stall him out. And then finally, next drive, Dolphins down 7-6. They would get themselves a nice play to Mostert. Mostert got a big-time run for 20 yards. It was great to see him back out there. So Tua goes to Mostert for 14. Then he takes the handoff for 20. Then he finds Malik Washington. Dolphins are marching down the field. Get to a 3rd and goal situation, and Tua finds Tyreek Hill for his 100th career touchdown right there at a 3rd and goal. That's what they rock with. Dolphins are in the end zone, and Dolphins seem to be finally in a really, really good way getting this offense moving. It was one of these where the next time around, all of a sudden Purdy starts going down, and he's got, George Kittle, who, what did he finish with today? He felt like he had a monster day. 8 catches, 106 for George Kittle. Yeah, he was a killer of all Dolphins things. Deebo Samuel as well had over 100 total yards between himself. So their stars showed up today. I know that they're dealing with injuries, but they were. But Calais Campbell comes up big in a 3rd and goal situation there. Has the deflection, probably saves a touchdown. And so they have to settle for the field goal. It becomes 13-10 Miami as they would go into halftime at that. Dolphins would try the drive. Nothing really going there. Dolphins would come back out. And Tua would, come out of this thing. Jeff Wilson would start getting into the mix, so that was pretty cool. Got back-to-back carries, which it was nice to see 23 back out there getting into the mix. Tua then tries to get it to Tyreek Hill. Not the best pass in the world. The next one was on the money to him, but holding was called on Brewer, so that's brought back to 3rd and 14. So the Dolphins have to settle for a 54-yard field goal. That puts them up 6. Next drive happens for the 49ers. Dolphins are up 6. They try a field goal. No good. Dolphins get the ball back. Another big play. Tua gets it to Jonnu Smith. Goes for 20 yards. Then Tua fumbles the snap. Goes to Jonnu again. Then he's trying to go to Tyreek Hill in the end zone. And Tyreek Hill, what has cost these superpowers of our beloved cheetah? I don't know. Maybe it's too much tweeting. I don't know what it is. But he botches it. And so the Dolphins have to settle for 3, 19-10 for the Dolphins. You come back the next drive around. You lose Jordan Brooks on this drive as Brock Purdy finds George Kittle. And then as soon as they see, Duke Riley's out there, they go to Saubert for the touchdown. That brings them to within 2. You're like, all right, this isn't great. Next drive around, Miami Dolphins get themselves in position. Achane doing his thing. He's going down the field. They're moving the ball, but then you get a huge holding call on Rob Jones. And you're like, ugh. All right, so it brings the Dolphins back to a 2nd and 13. Tua, he tries to find River Craycraft a couple plays later. It could have been crisper. River Craycraft, you don't get many footballs. 2 hands are there. You could have caught that one too. I thought the 2 receivers really could have picked him up in some spots. And they did not. Thankfully, next drive around, the Dolphins were able to get a 3-and-out after, not a 3-and-out. The Dolphins were able to put a stop to a drive after Usyk got a big gain. And then you got a nice stop by Jalen Ramsey. Hold serve there. Dolphins still up 2, about 6 minutes left. And Achane gets a big run, then a personal foul. The 49ers could not stop hitting the Dolphins late. That was a big problem for them. Then you get an offsides, then you get some more Achane action. He just keeps going to 28. Probably a good strategy. Dolphins are facing a 3rd and 3. They lose a couple of yards. Have the Dolphins out there. They're trying to draw them off sides. No go. They go timeout. Jason Sanders instead hits a 48-yard field goal. He was 5 for 5 on field goals on the day, so a big makeup after the week where he misses an extra point. Good for him. And then we mentioned it. The Dolphins would come back, get the big-time play from Kader Kohu, and Devon Achane would take it to the house and put the stamp on that game for the Dolphins. So Achane for sure gets the game ball for the Miami Dolphins. Calais Campbell, you could go a lot of ways on the defensive side. I'd probably go Calais Campbell with the pressure that he brought to set up the Kohu pick. Calais Campbell probably saved a touchdown at one point. Zach Sealer continues to be a monster. Really, really, a pretty strong game from the Dolphins all around. That could have been a lot better, but beggars can't be choosers. The Dolphins remain and hold serve. They win, get to 7 and 8. Everybody that they needed to lose today really won, except for So today's things that you were looking at on the playoff picture for the Miami Dolphins. You wanted, we know Denver and the result with Denver and the Chargers. So Denver is still setting up for a road game against the Bengals next week. And that's definitely one you're looking at. They have Cincinnati, who's playing a lot better. And then the final game we're all looking at is them against Kansas City. Will be interesting to see what happens on Christmas. So the Bills did win today after getting down early. They're able to hold off and make it still a match for the 1 seed. Mind you, they have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs. So they win today over the Patriots. So that went good for the Dolphins. The Bengals, they won over the Browns today. So they're still in a position at 7 and 8. You like that. The one that kind of got away from you today that you were a little bit disappointed with was probably the Colts, because you're thinking to yourself, Mason Rudolph, maybe that's the best QB they're facing left, the Colts. The Colts have a really weak soft schedule. The Dolphins need the Colts to lose a game the rest of the way. Some way, somehow. They need them to. They got the Giants left, and they got the Jaguars left. And then the Chargers, their final 2, I believe, are pretty easy as well. Let me get a double check ski on that for you. They have the Patriots and the Raiders. So, yeah, by far, you're looking. The Ravens, they took care of business yesterday. By far, the one you're looking at the most is the Broncos faltering late. Rookie quarterback. Could it happen? Listen, Romo wouldn't shut up about it. He was all about, Jim, it could happen. It could happen. And the Dolphins did a good job today. You know, they got big time plays. They got a good run game going today. You know, if you were to point at anybody and say they got to do a lot better, it's definitely got to be the receiving core and the safeties. Those are the guys who got carved up today. But good game in the trenches for the Dolphins. Tua, did he get sacked today? I don't think he got sacked today. No sacks on Tua today. 3 sacks on Brock Purdy. So pretty solid effort by the Dolphins. They remain with a pulse. That's where they're at. They got a game in Cleveland on the road. Doesn't look like it's going to be awfully freezing there. It looks like it's going to be in like the 40s, but it looks like it could be bad weather. So we'll keep that in mind for next week against a bad Cleveland Browns team that is, basically playing slot machine with their quarterback right now. The Dolphins get it done today. Big performance by Achane and a nice one at home. Send, as Larry Zonka said, Merry Christmas, Dolph fans. Sends them off into the holidays feeling good and feeling like things are not dead yet.